K-pop has become that role where there are viral moments, there are such hard-hitting productions, that talent and that training. It's a whole different ball game that the world didn't really know about back then.
Most of my post-college friends have come from this community of other media professionals who are attending these K-pop concerts, and it's just been yeah, I think it's amazing that some of my closest friends are now from this community, and we're able to enjoy these events together.
Welcome to the Table Talk segment. Today I have with us the lovely Lai Frances and Kat Moon. We're gonna go ahead and let them introduce themselves. We're gonna start with Lai and then go over to Kat. So whenever you guys are ready.
Sweet. Hey everyone, I'm Lai Frances. I'm a multimedia journalist and producer who is a tech kid by day, who works at CNET. Being the TikTok kid on there producing stuff, and then by the evening I am the K-pop kid who freelances and talks about K-pop and everything that goes on in front of the camera and behind the camera. So you might have seen some interviews by me. Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Everyone's chill, so yeah, happy AAPI month.
Yeah.
Hi, yes. I am Kat Moon, and I'm currently a news and shows writer at TV Guide, and I am covering all sorts of TV shows, including K-dramas, anime, shows on streaming platforms, but also the broadcast network shows. And I also have covered a lot of K-pop while I was at Time, and now I'm doing some freelancing for K-pop stories.
Yay! Alrighty, so as you guys probably heard, they have very impressive backgrounds, and so today we're gonna go ahead and ask them a little bit more about what it means to kind of be a person in the AAPI community, and then also how K-pop and the Hallyu wave has kind of affected their career. My first question for you guys is, when and how did you get into K-pop? We'll start with Kat this time.
Sure, yeah. So before I was in New York, where I am now, I actually grew up in Taipei, Taiwan, where I was for 18 years of my life. Yes, 100 years also Tony, so very excited. Yeah, and so my first exposure to K-pop, I would say, was watching Super Junior and Wonder Girls on TV. I actually put in part of Nobody by Wonder Girls to my 8th grade speech to run for student government on back, but I would say I really got into K-pop in 2017. It was with BTS's promotions, the Love Yourself, Her era, and that was when I, started watching a lot of videos with BTS, and eventually have started following a lot of other groups, boy groups, girl groups, solo artists. So yes, all started in 2017.
Wow, very cool, very cool. And what about you, Lai?
I guess I got into it. Well, my cousins were all into BoA when I was in 2nd grade, and then I had a cousin who was into Big Bang and stuff in 2007. But for me, it all hit around early 2008, late 2007. Going on YouTube, the YouTube generation, you go on your homepage and you get a suggested video, and it's Girls' Generation's Kissing You. And I'm just like, oh, that's cute. The thumbnail is this girl with an eye smile, and of course it's Tiffany Young. So I'm just like, oh, you know what? I'm coming from my emo phase, right? And I'm just clicking on it, and I'm just like, wow, this is super cute and happy. And I dedicated my Tumblr at that time and went from a Paramore, Panic at the Disco, Fueled by Ramen artist appreciation Tumblr, and it ended up slowly becoming a whole 2nd-gen K-pop Tumblr account. So yeah, that's how I started my career, and how I got deeper into the black hole of K-pop, which I'm still am in right now and thankful to be a part of. So yeah, that's how it started for me.
Oh my gosh. I just want to go ahead and do a little appreciation for the Tumblr accounts. I don't even know if our viewers know what a Tumblr is at this point, but Tumblr was very big back in, what was this, 2000?
I'd say 2010
maybe?
Yeah, I'd say like I'd say like probably even earlier, maybe like 2007 to 2013, around that
Yeah,
era.
yeah,
Or
yeah,
something.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. And then since you guys have gotten into K-pop, have your views on K-pop changed at all?
No, not really. It's still, to me, it's, I guess the way it changed for me is how I've become part of that pipeline, and I'm sure Kat feels the same way, and you as well, Jersey's like you came from a fan to a professional type of pipeline.
Mm.
You that's how it changed for me. I wouldn't say my views on K-pop have changed, but more so how in depth and how transparent K-pop has become more, and how evolving it has become, and how open things have become. Like before, obviously, not a lot of people were talking about mental health before in the K-pop industry, but now through the years, everyone has been open about it. Um, but yeah, I think I still view it as something that makes many of us happy who became fans of it. And it's been innovative through generations, like from the second to the first to even the current generation right now. It's just a matter of how all of the artists and companies have adapted to new technology and stuff. But yeah, for me, K-pop hasn't changed. I still love it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Kat?
Yeah, I think it's similar for me. I don't think my views toward K-pop have changed much. If anything, I feel like I see like more possibilities with fan mobilization, which is super exciting. And I don't think I ever had certain perceptions about what K-pop fans are like before I really became part of the community. But it's definitely been really exciting to see on the different social platforms how fans are coming together and doing different social causes. So I think that's a part of K-pop that I wasn't really familiar with when I started following it.
Yeah, you guys both bring up really good points, specifically with like how forward thinking I think K-pop as a generation is, and also with new technology and just the accessibility that fans have now. Do you think that's why K-pop and just like the Hallyu wave in general is kind of doing so well right now?
Oh heck yeah. Oh heck yeah. I remember the days of Tumblr when I would be into K-pop. It was like 240p on YouTube, and like the titles of YouTube videos would be like skewed for a bit so you wouldn't get disclaimed and like copyrighted and stuff. But now over the time you have fans who are mobilizing together, like Kat said. They're doing fan subs for shows, they're doing it voluntarily because they love it, and they do it in different languages too. And even labels themselves, when they push out music videos, teasers, or even personal reality style vlogs, they offer it in at least two or more languages. So the current generation of K-pop fans have it good. They have it really good, and honestly, and more concerts too. Because back then, the only two places, if it's a worldwide show, it's outside of Korea and Asia, and probably California if we're lucky. Now we have it all over in the probably 3 or 4 or 5 major cities in the United States. So yeah, I mean, accessibility has come a long way.
Yeah. What about you, Kat?
No, totally agree. I do think translations have been such a game changer, like translations or like the social media accounts that are translating all the social media posts by artists, and also agree with what you said about concerts. And I think the fact that fans can say, oh, it's a world tour, but you're not coming to my country, like that just means there's hope that will happen. So I think it has changed a lot since in the past decade.
They do gotta show love to Europe though. I feel bad for you. Like Europe needs to get that love too, though. So
I do. So I'm gonna go ahead and like quick shout out to those fans that are translating and are putting in that work for making these videos more accessible. So thank you to those fans. I guess you guys kind of talked a little bit about your K-pop groups that first caught your attention. So I just want to double check. And for Kat, the first one for you would be BTS, correct? And then for Lai, the first one for you was Girls' Generation or Girls' Generation? Okay.
Like just how 21 reunited. If something happens this year, I will risk it all. I would risk it all. I'll say it on the record right now.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I guess my question now is, So those were the groups that kind of first caught your attention. What exactly about those groups was the thing that caught your attention?
I think the first video I watched was when BTS was on Ellen performing Mic Drop, and I was just so blown away by the choreography, and I think it has definitely inspired me to, take on dancing as a hobby now in my 20s, which has been very exciting. But I would say, like many other ARMYs, after learning more about the messages in their songs and seeing how they have talked about mental health and different social issues in Korea, that was definitely very inspiring. And by watching variety shows, you see more of their personalities, so I think that also attracted me to them.
You know what's crazy is that was also the video that got me into BTS.
What?
I was leave now. I think this is like,
oh my gosh!
No, Lai, please, you're very important. But I just think that's so crazy that we watched the same video. Yeah, but okay, go ahead, Lai.
I'm like surrounded by two twins right now. Twins.
We gotta show love to second gen. We gotta show love to girls gen too. Go ahead.
So I would blame it on the thumbnail on YouTube because it was the eye smile. It was so happy. I was like, I'm like a jaded person during that time. But really, what really got me into them was when, after clicking that video, you know how on YouTube on the right panel you would be suggested videos?
Yes.
I would just click. I just kept going and going with it, right? And eventually I was led to some radio shows and variety shows. Then it was like Star King and Star Golden Bell, and I just loved the chaotic personalities they brought. I mean, not only that, I was introduced to Tiffany. Like I said, like that was like my entering point into the place, and she identified as a Korean American, an Asian American too. And to find someone who is a very strong female in a very powerful girl group who is obviously famous in Korea, big in Korea, but moved back to follow her dreams and also just represent the Asian American identity. I thought that was really cool. That kind of related to me. And plus, I'm pretty sure many of us can relate. As a female Asian American growing up, there was no representation in media for us. I mean, sure, there was Mulan, but like she's fictional, right? So to have a girl group to be so powerful in doing what they do, I just had to stand. Like obviously there's Wonder Girls too, like of course Wonder Girls and Baby Vox and SES and all the girl groups before that, and BoA of course. They just, after discovering Girls' Generation, it was just like, I just love what the women are doing in the K-pop industry, and they're so badass. Like it was just a journey of me becoming a girl group enthusiast at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Speaking of representation, that was a great segue. Thank you. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of go into the next question, which is, how do you think K-pop or K-culture has influenced or impacted your identity as an Asian American?
That's a good question. I think it's become like this global phenomenon over the course of the years, right? But for me, I think the reason why I got into this field of multimedia journalism is just to tell and raise voices of their stories. Like I said earlier, we had no representation, and because K-pop has become that role where there are viral moments, there are such hard-hitting productions, that talent and that training, it's a whole different ball game that the world didn't really know about back then. And I felt like, for me, I wanted to share those stories and be like, hey, Western world, where there's the other side of the world has so much talent that should be showcased and showed off. And I'm wearing the 88 Rising shirt right now, and I know we're talking about K-pop, but 88 Rising has done a great job just putting out all these various faces, whether they're from earlier generations of music to now, to showcase that we have talent too. I thought I just wanted to take that opportunity to make me more proud to be who I am, because in this world where in Western media we can't really find ourselves until recently, right? So
Preach,
Yeah.
preach, snaps, snaps. I love it. What about you, Kat?
Yeah, no, I'm so encouraged by hearing what Lai said, and I do think we share a lot of the same, goals and hopes, and I think that has helped us encourage each other in our work. But yeah, I think for me, like the rise and popularity of K culture has also helped me like embrace my roots. And I grew up in Taiwan, and I remember like my mom watching Full House, and then a few years later it was me watching Boys Over Flowers and Airs. And when I moved to the U.S., I of course like found people I could talk about these shows with. But I also felt like, oh crap, I didn't grow up watching Friends or The Office. How can I be a part of the conversations around culture? And I think with the rise and popularity of K-pop, K-dramas, K-movies. It's just been very exciting to be able to, talk about entertainment from Asia. And I think by covering K-pop, I've also definitely grown this desire to like share about other parts of entertainment from where I grew up. And it's been very empowering to work at U.S. publications and like pitch these stories and know that the entertainment or like the shows and movies I'm writing about are highlighting Asian stories.
Yeah, absolutely. I just gotta say, really quickly, I love the way that both of you talk. I think it's like our appreciation really quick for just like spitting facts.
I do have something to say though, like what Kat said earlier about diving into her roots. I think what K-pop has also done has encouraged other surrounding Asian countries to be more accessible, or just grab some inspiration from the Hallyu wave and make it their own twist. So like, for example, I'm Filipino American, but when I go on Twitter, there are so many, or social media or YouTube, there's so many Filipino pop groups now, which I'm so happy to see. I mean, there's SB19, who's the first Filipino group to be nominated for a Billboard Music Award for Best Social Group. And then there's also like Alamat, and there's also girl groups now like Kaya and Beanie. Like it's amazing how much the Hallyu wave has impacted the world, that inspired but also kind of amplified the voices of other Asian countries to push their own talent too. So I think it's been a very wholesome journey for just the whole Asian continent. So
yeah,
what I gotta say.
Absolutely. I totally agree. I think seeing a lot of these different groups pop up in other countries after the whole Hallyu wave has been like super encouraging, and definitely like I feel like it brings a sense of pride in like you as like someone who just like is from that country. On the flip side of that, so obviously we grew up in K-pop and K-culture, so we definitely see it as a green flag. But I've noticed, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I've noticed that like a lot of people consider like, oh, if you're a K-pop fan, that's a red flag. Why do you think that is?
I just think, unfortunately, there are still so many stereotypes about, who K-pop fans are. I think the most common one being that they were like screaming teenagers, and even last year, James Corden calling ARMY, I think 15-year-old girls, and people were rightfully upset. And I think, while teenagers do make up a huge part of fandom, and I think, and they bring so much to the fandom, there's also a lot of fans, who are diverse in age, in ethnicity, and geography. And, I think in the past few years, I have seen, the general public becoming more aware of the different layers. But I do think maybe it'll take a while for those stereotypes to go away.
Yeah. And to add on to that, I think it's the way social media purposely, or just the algorithms, put it on our feeds, how non-K-pop fans or non-Hallyu followers have perceived it through the outside perspective of social media. People are doxing each other, people are calling each other out. Like sometimes these hashtags are just trending on the top 10 of Twitter, and people are wondering, why is it somehow a negative connotation? But at the same time, like, it is, yes, bringing exposure, but obviously if you don't look through the stories and the comments and you just don't know what the topic is, that's how people are just perceiving it from a general perspective, unfortunately. But yeah, I think that's why it's a red flag. It's just the way social media puts K-pop in a light sometimes. So
So would you say the way to kind of change this view is to kind of change how social media talks about it, or is there something that you specifically think would help?
Yeah, I mean, first, like on the fan side, as they are getting involved in, all of these like different social causes that I talked about earlier, whether it's for racial justice or for the environment, as those get publicized, then people see the complexities of people who are in fandom. But I also do think like media reporting does matter a lot, and the types of stories that writers are talking about for K-pop fans or of K-pop fans that can help change the narrative.
Yeah, which is essentially what you guys are doing.
Yeah,
So.
it really, it really depends on, one, what is the story about, and two, who is writing it. It's very important that there are people who know what they're talking about when it comes to K-pop, because like what Kat said, there's so many layers to it. There's so many layers to it that you have to make sure that context is there for them to understand. So for me, yeah, it's definitely knowing who covers it and making sure that they are aware of who the subject or the topic is for them to just fully deliver the story to the masses. And this is especially for the Western media, because obviously things could get easily skewed and mistranslated throughout the world.
Yeah, absolutely. If there was something that you could tell the haters or the people who consider K-pop a red flag to try and change their mind, what would you say?
Make you a playlist. I'll make it public. Make a YouTube playlist or a Spotify playlist. Choose your weapon. I will send it to you.
Okay. Do you have one just like ready?
Yes, I did. My first week at CNET, they actually asked me, introduce yourself. Can you make us a K-pop playlist? And I did.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I actually spread it through like the higher ups and everyone. So everyone has a copy.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. Who is a must on this playlist?
Definitely all the second gen acts who have made an impact. So obviously Big Bang, Super Junior, Girls' Generation, Wonder Girls, Infinite, DBSK, BoA, and then there's of course IU, Sistar,
Yes.
everyone from even first gen, because I do have like Ihyori and Rain on there as well.
Yeah.
Just like the basics that have made waves, like literally defined the Hallyu wave. And then now I'm starting to update it, putting some Stacy in there, some some P1 Harmony and in there. So give some love to the fourth gen groups who are making laps around the world at the moment. So yeah.
What about you, Kat? What would you say?
That's amazing. Yeah, I also do make playlists for my friends. I'm not sure if I would share them with the haters out there. I mean, I can see how that can hopefully change their minds a little. I'm just thinking like, it's like, let's say even these people who have stereotypical views, I would maybe ask like, why are you looking down on the interest of teenage girls? Like, why do you think their musical taste is, not as good as yours?
All right. Well, I'm sure there's lots of haters out there watching this specific video, so I hope you guys take that to heart. Let's talk about the Hallyu wave. Was there a particular moment in the Hallyu wave that like stands out to you that you specifically want to talk about? Like this was like so impactful or so just memorable?
More recent, but I was at time when the 2020 Oscars took place, and I was still on the social media team, so I was live tweeting the ceremony, and it was just so exciting to see all the Parasites wins. I remember it first won the Best International Feature Film, and then won Best Director, and then Best Picture. And I think when that was announced, I screamed before I tweeted from Times account, "Oh, Best Picture win!" And I think it has started a lot of important conversations about subtitled content, and I do think now there is thankfully a growing appetite in the US for non-English language shows and movies. So I think that was definitely very important and still very exciting to think about.
Yes, absolutely. Shout out to Parasite. Really quick. What about you, Lai?
I would be, I would actually say Gangnam Style. It's literally the 10th anniversary this year. You know that I remember I was in college still, and my internship I actually covered Gangnam Style, like that whole journey of the how it became like a overnight sensation pretty much. I was an intern then, and people were just like, "Hey, you're into K-pop. Why don't you do?" I was like an intern at a radio station, but I remember going to the Today Show one morning, like just standing there to see Psy and perform was like pretty dope, and he was just like right in front of me, and I was just like, this is really interesting to see. And then not only that, but afterwards, I guess, you know, people might have taken it as a meme, but just the whole Asian, it was like there's so much pride in that moment. Everyone was just made aware, but sure, they had its cons where people were making memes out of it thinking this is K-pop, you know, that's the only part of K-pop, but that only opened the doors more for discovery on YouTube. And which actually leads me to the next moment, was Girls' Generation winning a YouTube Music Award, or a YouTube award.
Yes,
and Tiffany actually flew out and you know, received the award on behalf of the group. I think those were the two moments that really stood out to me during the early days of like the second gen. So yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Psy. I don't know if you guys or like have seen, but he's been active on TikTok recently. And his videos are so great. If you guys don't already, you should definitely check out Psy's TikTok account, because it's hilarious.
He has like a straight face throughout the whole, like all of these TikToks is incredible. I don't know how he keeps a straight face, and when he does collaborations with other artists is really funny. Yeah. And now he's like coming back with new music because of the 10th anniversary. He made a promise. So it's kind of exciting to see what happens now.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited. I'm super excited. In terms of diversity for K-culture, I mean, K-culture as of right now is doing a good job, I think, of trying to be more diverse than before. But what would you like to see more of in K-culture, diversity-wise?
What K-pop does is they do the unthinkable. Like, I think for the Hallyu wave overall, it's like when they use technology, you know, there are so many ways you could communicate with your favorite artists. They have Weverse, they have Bubble, they have all these sorts of different ways for them to communicate. I mean, there's also the way they market themselves, like photo cards and all these stickers and Polaroids that you get and add-ons. Like, in terms of diversity on how they market themselves, I honestly don't know, because I feel like they've done everything, but they could be doing more behind the backs. I mean, obviously there's the debacle on NFTs and stuff. I mean, that's another story to dive into, because I don't know the world of the metaverse and such. But honestly, in terms of diversity, we've seen K-pop welcome different races into groups, which is really dope to see. We've seen Japanese, Thai, we've even seen African American, Pato from Black Swan. You know, it's so great to see that accessibility and giving like all these other races a chance to be a part of this spectacle. I guess in terms of diversity, just more stops on tour, maybe stops on tours. Maybe like you know, diversity in cheaper tickets, maybe for the fans who are burning their wallets at the moment.
The economic diversity, right? Of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess I do think there can be greater awareness within K-pop for cultural appropriation incidents, you know, and I think now, like, especially as fandoms are becoming more global, I think it is very important for companies and artists to know when they're taking elements from other cultures that are stereotypical, maybe. And I think it's great that fans nowadays really call out these incidents, you know, but the hope is that the awareness grows and that these incidents happen less.
Yeah, right.
Definitely.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, I feel like at this point, it's kind of like the Gen Z is doing such a great job of really holding people accountable that I feel like a lot of people prior were kind of scared to do so. And I just think that's like crazy, like that they have so much boldness and like courage to do that.
Yeah, and I mean, you've seen it in video calls too. Like if you see it on Twitter, there are some fans who share their video calls with some artists, like telling them like, you know, the difference between like cultural appropriation and moments that they've done with their music videos or their concept. And you see these artists being super receptive about it. So I guess it's just a matter of, sure, it's obviously beyond the artist's, you know, fault or doing. It's just a matter of labels and management to be listening. If they want to expand and expose themselves to a greater market, listen to the fans, listen to the experts and other people in other countries.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna bring it back a little bit to a little bit more lighthearted, but I think what we're talking about so far has been really like eye-opening, and thank you guys so much for sharing your thoughts so far. But bring it back a little bit. So let's talk about back to the surge in interest in K-culture. So back to the Hallyu Wave. What are some maybe benefits that you've seen in your life that were only possible because of this sudden interest?
Because of the accessibility, we get to actually, you know, witness these artists perform in person more. Because obviously we could only just watch through a YouTube video that's in like 240, 340, 480p before. But I think we've been blessed with so much content now that we could so much to watch, so much to talk about, so much to write about for everyone who is covering the K-pop world. There's so many things happening, whether it is within the country or outside of the country. So yeah, I think us being able to witness this whole journey for these artists and being able to be, you know, like a secondary voice for them when we tell their stories is pretty awesome. Now I think about it, because obviously we wouldn't have this access before, and the fact that Western media is being a little more open to it now is cool.
Yeah. I feel like Western media kind of needs to pick it up a little bit.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Kat. Sorry.
No. Yeah, no, I agree. And I do think with what Lai said about accessibility, you know, I think due to the rise in popularity and there being more events around the world, including in New York, like honestly for me a benefit has been most of my like post-college friends have come from this community of other media professionals who are attending these K-pop concerts, and you know it's just been yeah, I think it's amazing that some of my closest friends are now from this community, and we're able to enjoy these events together. And I also think for me, I mean, I started learning Korean as I mentioned a little before, and I don't think I would have, you know, consider learning other languages after studying Spanish in high school, but both that and now I'm learning K-pop dance, and those have definitely brought a lot of benefits to my life.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say that one thing I think fans of K-pop, especially now, really enjoys and I think really helps grow the K-pop fandom is the community. And since you guys are not only fans but also in like the professional side of that world, do you think that the professional side also has a similar community or also has like the same sense of support from those who also do what you guys do?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's how me and Kat actually met. We met through K-pop concerts and events, and you know, we gotten close, and you know, every now and then we text each other about like certain shows that we're watching. You know, produce 999. I mean, Girls Planet 999. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And you know, Queendom too. Like as we said earlier, you know, we've built these communities around ourselves where we could share our fan side with each other, but also talk about it in a professional manner. Whether it is we are on site to do interviews, doing a press run or something. And you know, I think also KCON has become such a great mecca for professionals and fans alike to meet and just have fun. And I know there's K-Play Fest as well, you know, where everyone's just building a community within, and you know, and there's nothing's better than walking into a room where everyone is liking and loving the same things as you do. And you know, that's what the K-pop community has brought on a professional level and also as a fan.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I also want to add, I think, you know, like some of me and Lai's messages have been like sharing each other's stories and congratulating each other on those stories. And I think, because the pitching process, at a lot of publications, it is hard, and there are a lot of rejections, which is very normal in general, not just for K-pop stories, for all stories. And so it's like, we kind of have to support each other and be like, hey, let's keep pitching and go for these interview opportunities. And when we do get the opportunities, whether it's for an interview or other types of coverage, it is very exciting. And I hope, we keep like celebrating these things together.
Yeah, I actually do want to kind of talk a little bit more about how do you guys know each other? Tell me the story.
Now when I mentioned it, I was wondering, when was the first time I actually met you?
I actually think it might have been like at a birthday party of another
one of our friends' birthday parties, who's also a Hallyu writer as well. It just brings up a wholesome community. Yeah, we got to know each other from there. I think since even before then, I knew about Kat because she was the Time writer, right? She was like the Time person. She was like the social engagement person. But I was always impressed by her writing whenever she did contributions, because she's obviously a well-written person, and just two, she's an Asian American who's like representing the community, who is putting voices, to the Asian community. So I think when that's how we got close, and then afterwards she shared some enthusiasm with some girl groups that I write about as well. So from there, our friendship just bloomed. Spring Day by BTS.
I love it. Yeah. Kat, do you have any other like stories you want to throw in there?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like for girl groups, like it has been so great to, bond with Lai about talking about these girl groups, but also I do think in general, like media coverage, there is more focus on boy groups, and so I think it's been exciting to like push for more girl groups coverage, including female soloists, and yes, that has been awesome.
Yeah.
And Kat does like a really good cover. Like she does great covers whenever she does dance classes.
Oh yes.
I'm just gonna praise you, Kat, because you're.
Maybe we'll do you have a YouTube channel?
She should start one though.
I was like, we could do like we'll link everything down below. But if you guys have anything that you do want me to link, feel free to let me know. We can just be like, make sure you check it out. The Hallyu wave, again, is crazy how much it's grown. So how do you think it's going to affect K-pop in the future?
More opportunities, for sure. After last night, like I'm gonna bring up Coachella because that was incredible what 88 Rising did. They put in Jackson Wang, who's obviously from GOT7, CL, who is from 2NE1, and to have like communities or collectives that become a voice for Asian artists overall, not just K-pop, and be that platform is incredible. So if that happens again, I feel like Coachella is just one step in the journey of being an Asian American or for K-pop. I think from now on, everyone's going to be interested. Why is there all the noise in a good way on social? Why is everyone talking about it? Sure, K-pop has been viral or had those trending moments in the past couple of years, but now you see it in a Western spectacle, in a Western festival, everyone's going to be interested, wondering, why is this happening? Like I said, more opportunities for whether it's festivals outside of the US. So, like obviously there's the one that's happening in Frankfurt next month. Like I said, it's just really going to be more opportunities from here on out, and more accessibility, obviously.
Yeah.
No,
sorry, go ahead.
I'm also thinking about, I guess, like how the definition of K-pop is always going to keep changing, and I'm thinking about SM launching I think they're launching a series to find the NCT Hollywood unit, for NCT, and I don't know many details about it besides what has already been out, but it's a US based group, I think, from what I read. And so I think there are a lot of questions about what this will look like, and I'm very interested in seeing how I guess K-pop will change as the emphasis on global market, continues to grow. And then I'm thinking on the side of TV, K-dramas, and I guess the TV film side. I feel like I have to add this in as a TV writer, but I do think there will be more like US companies and streaming platforms join the K-dramas streaming wars because of the growing wave. And last year, both Disney Plus and Apple TV launched in South Korea, and then have dropped a lot of different K-dramas since then. And of course, Netflix has been, I think, leading the way in both like what they offer in their catalog, but also their studios that are producing K-dramas. And I think that industry will continue to expand.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen it with K-pop first, and then now it's onto the film and TV and drama side, because I think just to expand what Kat said, I believe it was like 550 million or billion or 500, around the 500s that was being invested to Netflix to push more South Korean content because it's been performing so well.
Yes.
So obviously on the accessibility account, there's going to be more content that's going to be exposed. And then yes, Apple TV and what was the other one? Sorry, Apple TV and Disney Plus. Yeah. So that was there. And then I think also on the tech side, we've seen SM doing the metaverse thing. They're starting to bring up the metaverse. And in terms of accessibility, everyone's going to be adapting to the digital world. Post-COVID, everyone wants to get a glimpse of how things are run, like how are the stories being told for these new artists and how they are evolving with technology. I think that's going to be an interesting front on how things are going to unfold in K-pop.
Yes.
And just how overall.
I do want to give a really quick shout out to Netflix. I feel like their K-dramas, I don't know what it is, but they are hitting it on the mark. I know earlier we talked about 2521, and I know Kat hasn't watched it yet, so I'm trying not to spoil it, but it was so good though. I feel like it was true, and I feel like it's to the point where my parents, my mom and my dad, my mom has always like enjoyed K-dramas, but she's always watched like more period pieces. But recently, her and my dad have both been enjoying K-dramas together because Netflix is also, not only is it on Netflix and it's really easy to watch, but it's also with Chinese subtitles. So I feel like I think it's really cute that my parents just like bond. That's their bonding time.
And I'll also give a shout out to All of Us Are Dead, which was released earlier this year.
Yes.
And, I mean, for TV Guide, I interviewed the cast and we had a video, and I do think, like just even reading the comments and seeing the high engagement for that, and seeing the continued wave of like the Korean content / zombie apocalypse theme grow, that has also been very exciting.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think even we mentioned about like our families getting into it, and it only reminded me how my mom, ever since I introduced her to Boys Over Flowers like almost a decade ago, she's like, I want to marry that man. And then like over the years, she's like, I need you to get married with him so you can have a grandchild. And so I can have a grandchild. And I'm like, Mom, that's like the unreachable for sure. But yeah, I mean, how because of the accessibility and how things are either subbed or dubbed, either on Netflix or anywhere now, like everyone has that different ways to just get that content. And I think every other drama that dropped during the pandemic, whether it's Crash Landing on You or Itaewon Class or whatever, I think my cousins, my aunts, and including my mom, they're just like, I want to marry Hyunbin. I want to marry Park Sejun. And I'm like, okay, we get it. I mean, it's really great to see how the awareness that's being brought out of this.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I'm gonna actually give you guys some time to flex a little bit. But really quickly, before I phrase the question the way it is, do you guys know what a main character moment means?
Yes.
Okay, so what was your, just flex a little bit, what was your main character moment that you...
Wait. I feel like I do know. I do maybe like spell it out.
Oh no, yeah, no worries. So like main character moment is kind of just like where so like when you watch a drama, the main character like it's like kind of all eyes on this person and they just experience something that other people are like either jealous of or like are like so happy for them to experience. And so like it doesn't have to be like something super crazy, but like what would be like your flex main character moment? It could just be something that makes
some of Lai's main character moments.
My main, I think I have two.
Okay.
One of them was definitely interviewing Sunmi.
That's what I was gonna say.
I think Kat definitely knows this. Sunmi was definitely it. Because she was obviously next to Girls' Generation. Wonder Girls was another group that I followed when I was a teen, and so. And I've seen Wonder Girls tour with the Jonas Brothers. I've seen like their performances whenever they were in New York, trying to getting into the U.S. market. And then obviously she left Wonder Girls, and Wonder Girls unfortunately disbanded over time. And then when she came out solo and came out with her tour, I was like the only, I think, Western outlet from New York who got a chance to interview her.
Oh my
God. And then it's in her blog, that her tour blog, where she we talked about the different slangs that she would use on internet, because she would learn from her followers, and I taught her the word glow up. And
ooh, I love that one.
I told her the word glow up, and I told her it's like how you transformed and transitioned and grew over the years. And then I showed her an old photo of us when I met her 10 years ago, like 9 years ago. She bawled after that. She was so touched. Like I think that was a moment where it also hit me afterwards that it's like I became a fan to a professional who ended up loving this group, and now I get to talk about her story over the time. It's like, wow, she opened up right there and was like, I was having a hard time during that time because she was 16 back then. She opened up to me, and after that, like she weeks after the tour, she followed me on Instagram, on Twitter, and like every now and then she would like check in, see how I was, and I think I would do the same too.
I love that.
Yeah, and then like later that year, I finally got to interview Tiffany. So after that, it was just like, oh, it was like a second gen like reunion for me, and then it was super surreal. And it was like for the same outlet too. And when I got to finally meet her in person, because the first time I met Tiffany, I talked to Tiffany was from a phone. I literally jumped out of my shower because her rep was like, hey, you have time to talk to Tiffany in 10 minutes? And I'm just like, okay. Half naked, running on the hardwood floor. And I was like, okay, I'm going to talk to Tiffany. I'm shaking on the phone, and she's about to like hop on a plane. So I did the interview. And then when I met her, she was like, I like your writing. And I'm just like, okay, this is how we're starting. So yeah, I guess that was that.
I love that. I'm living for this. Love it. All right, we're gonna let Kat flex a little. Here we go.
Kat, you better flex. Ooh.
Let me think.
She's got so much.
Well, I will say for me it was very special to interview Chung Ho-yeon from Squid Game last year for Time, and I think that was from what I saw like the first U.S. video or like video interview for a U.S. outlet, and I think that was still in the middle of like the of Squid Game being popular, and this year she's been getting all these different awards, and I'm just, oh my gosh, it's so amazing watching her. So that was very exciting. And during the call itself, she was like giving hearts with her body.
Oh,
and
that's so cute.
And I think I was very moved by how she shared different things about like why she pursued acting or identifying, I think, with her Squid Game character because of like a sense of loneliness and things like that. So was very moved by that interview. And then I guess something else, shorter main character moment is when I was interviewing response to X, also for a time, Kian complimented my Korean pronunciation and said it was perfect. So I was like, thank you to my Korean teacher. I'm good now. Even though I literally only said one sentence, but I'll take that as a win.
Yeah.
Can I also add something on what Kat should flex is how she brought. What didn't you bring twice to one of the Times like events or like virtual concert events too?
Yes, they were. I didn't talk to them for that event, but they performed for a virtual series. Yes.
Because of Kat. Thank you, Kat.
Because of Kat. We're gonna
Thank
say
you, thank you. Okay, yeah. I mean, I don't have any of those kind of stories, so I am living for you guys to be able to like just experience the story that you guys have been able to experience. And really mad props to you guys and your profession. So much respect for what you guys are doing. Continue to do it, please. I think that's it. Oh, we're gonna actually end it with this one more question before we close out. For those who are seeking to start a career in the same profession that you guys are, do you have any advice that you would like to leave them?
If there's no outlet who's gonna listen to you, be the outlet yourself. Like, there's no way to start it. Whether it is a Twitter account, whether it is a YouTube channel, whether it's a podcast, be the outlet you want to be. If no one's listening to you, there's going to be someone out there who will listen to you. Whether it is your mom, whether it is your best friend, the way you want to market yourself, believe in your content, because someone else will be believing in you, and eventually everyone else will. So, yeah, start anywhere. And don't be afraid to get in touch with people. The way that we have access to so many people on Twitter, on LinkedIn, don't be afraid to get in touch with these people. They're more than willing to give you either a response, whether it's a one-liner. Just try. The worst that could happen is just being ignored and being said no to. So
yeah, and I'm actually going to piggyback off of what Lai said. I literally DM'd her on Twitter.
Yeah,
I was like,
it was great.
I'm just gonna shoot my shot and see what happens, and that's how we were able to get this interview.
Look where we're at now, baby.
Okay, and then Kat, what's your advice?
Honestly, those are the two same things I'm thinking of. So first I was thinking, if you want to pursue the writing path and let's say pitching to outlets doesn't work, you can really start your own blog. And, I think it's very important because once there are opportunities, it's important for the editors to see clips. And if you have clips in your blog, that can also help you make the case for why, you should be the right person to write the story. So I do think whether it's starting a blog or like I said, the other multimedia platforms, don't be afraid to start that. And then I would also say Twitter DM is great, and once COVID is better, and if you live in the same city as some people in the field, you can ask for coffee. And I think that's what I did initially too. While I was in journalism school, I remember like Twitter DMing Tamar Herman, and I think that has even meeting with her and then hearing about how she has covered K-pop through the years was so illuminating, and we've had a good, I think, mentorship but also friendship relationship over the past years. And I think that's how a lot of my relationships with different people in our community started too. So yes, don't be afraid to send the DMs, and and if you don't get a response, that is okay too. And don't be afraid to follow up too. I would say both for emails and for Twitter DMs. Like if you don't get a reply, it's fine. Just send it again a few days or weeks later.
Yeah, exactly. If you're second guessing yourself on following up, just do it. Nike, baby, do it. Yeah.
I'm sorry, really quickly for Kat, do you think that there are other, like, what platform specifically has worked best for you in terms of like blindly reaching out to people?
Reaching out to people. I would say in college I did cold email a lot, but I do feel like now on Twitter, especially if people's DMs are open, then that's the way I would go, because maybe some people's like Twitter is also more for professional use. I haven't really reached out to people on Instagram, I think, for professional things. Like if some people reach out to me there, I would ask them to write to my email, but yeah, so Twitter has been the main one for me.
Alrighty, well, this concludes the interview. Thank you guys so much for your time. I really appreciate it, and honestly, it was such a pleasure to meet you both. And I hope you guys, wish you all the best in the future. I'm rooting for you guys. And yeah,
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having us. You'll probably see both of us soon, maybe, if we both go to KCON this year.
If you guys ever plan on coming to LA, don't be afraid to hit your girl up. I am very willing to kind of show you guys around. Although I'm sure you've been here many times. But if you guys ever need like a more boba and K-pop focused tour of LA,
love it.
I got you.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, it was such a fun time.
Thank you so much for having
Well,
me.
thank you so much. Yeah, thank you for all the very thoughtful questions too. And I feel like me and Lai had a good session, like reflecting on our friendship. So
Yeah. We love each other more now.
We love to see it.
Yeah, thank you so much. Let's get connected on the socials.
Oh yes. Yeah. We'll go ahead and drop their socials in the description below, so don't be afraid to check them out. And we're gonna call it a night. Bye.